What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad, Sean, and today, reactions to the classics. We are going to be drafting our top 10 albums of 2010. We are up to a new decade right here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We have a top 10 list going all the way back to 1965, so it's been a long journey, and we're getting closer and closer to the present day.
We are, and if you don't know how this works, it's a draft. Trey will draft first this year. I'll draft second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on until we get our 10 albums. Pay close attention. We want you to tell us who you think won and what your top 5 or 10 albums are from this year, if you care to. And also, if you're a patron, then you get to vote on one of these albums for our album listening party that happens once a month on YouTube. Check out our Patreon link below or the patron link on the end screen. Trey, you got first vote this year, and I was very disappointed about that because I knew what I was going to pick number one. But then when we get to my pick, maybe I wasn't quite as disappointed. What do you got?
Man, I'm going to be going with what I think most people will be going as number one. He's topped the list 3 times already.
He has.
Through various drafts. It's going to be Kanye West with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, his 5th record. Man, this debuted at number 1, won Best Rap Album at the Grammys, has an astronomical 94 on Metacritic.
Unbelievable.
And got a very rare 10 from Pitchfork, who don't give that often.
No, they don't.
First time they'd given an album a 10 in 8 years. The previous one, anybody have any guesses? Wilco's Yankee Hotel Foxtrot in 2002. This dad comes at a very pivotal point kind of in Kanye's career. He's coming off being Public Enemy number 1 after the Taylor Swift incident at the MTV VMAs. Of course, he came up there, took the microphone when Taylor was up there and said Beyonce had the best video of the year. People turned against Kanye. He went did a self-exile in Hawaii where he actually...
Must be nice to be rich and do your self-exile in Hawaii, but go ahead.
Yeah, there's worse places, right? There's a pretty famous studio there. He recorded actually some 808s and Heartbreaks in 2008 there, and he flew in a ton of different types of people. This is just a star-studded list of features on here. Everybody from Jay-Z, Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Elton John, John Legend. Chris Rock has a pretty comical skit in here at one point. Bonnie Bear, who is a fantastic artist. Raekwon, and here it's a very I've heard it described that as like a rap opera in a sense. It's a very grand sounding record whenever you're talking production, and really shows kind of a reflection of Kanye at this time, rise and fall of a celebrity, the consumer culture, touches on race, the American dream, and it's just one of the great albums, not only of this year, but I think of all time. So be sure to give it a spin, man. My favorites, All the Lights, of course, Power, gorgeous reaction you and Mom did to that. Devil in a New Dress with Rick Ross's best verse ever, and of course Runaway with the great Pusha T, might be the best song of them all.
That's one of my 20 favorite songs of all time. That song is that good. So that would have been my number 1 pick, but I'll tell you what, I found an album, Trey, on this journey that is close to it, and I didn't think there was any way possible. The National and their album High Violet,
great
their
record.
5th studio album, went to 3 in the U.S. In May 2013, they played the High Violet track Sorrow 105 times in a row at an art installation in New York, in a performance lasting 6 hours. It was released as a special vinyl-only box set entitled A Lot of Sorrow. I don't know how much time you got on your hands, but I can't imagine you ever have that much time to listen to that. But 85 on Metacritic, so pale when compared to the 94 for Kanye, but still. Terrible Love and Sorrow are great, but the whole album's a sonic experience. 11 songs, 47 minutes. Matt Berenger takes you in, that voice. I've listened to this album probably 6 times since I listened to it for this draft, and I never do that. Tells you how good it is.
So you like this more than Alligator and the Boxer, right? I
do.
It's between this and the Boxer for me. It's a fantastic record.
They're all 3 great.
It would have been on my list. It really goes to show National, one of the great bands of this century.
Yeah, fantastic, man. My number 2 pick, Beach House, Teen Dream. 3rd album, but their debut on them, Sub Pop. I didn't love their previous effort, Devotion, Trey, back in 2008, but on this one, they really evolved significantly. You got less reverb. Victoria Legrand's vocals are great. Highlights are Norway, Lover of Mine, and Used to Be. And they may pop up in a couple years. You never know on another album.
Definitely. I like me some Beach House for sure. That's two really solid picks here. And I'm going to keep it going, man. LCD Soundsystem, This Is Happening, their third record. Their first album, I'm not huge on.
I'm not either.
So I was like, okay, I know.
Critically, it's loved.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I know this record has a lot of hype. What do we got? Well, this was a home run in my opinion, man. It's a blend of dance, rock, even some punk elements, electronica. So LCD Soundsystem, a very unique sounding group, recorded at the Mansion in LA, which Rick Rubin now owns. Red Hot Chili Peppers have recorded there a lot, and Rubin has over the years. James Murphy adds a certain charisma to these tracks and just a uniqueness in his vocal delivery that is quite catchy. The opener, Dance Yourself Clean, is just a masterful use of building anticipation for the drop. It's about a 9-minute long song, and then boom, 4 minutes come in. The drum program machine comes in, and you're ready to move and groove, man. Drunk Girls also shows what the band can do at its peak. And I'm also going with my next pick, another really strong band, Arcade Fire, Suburbs, their third record, debuted at number 1 on the US, UK, Irish, and Canadian charts. So pretty impressive, on top of being the album of the year at the Grammys and the Juno Awards, the famous Canadian awards. So this was inspired by Win Butler, the lead frontman, growing up in the Woodlands, Texas, and thus you get the Suburbs type name in there. He noted that the album, quote, "It's neither a love letter to nor an indictment of the suburbs. It's a letter from the suburbs." I think indie rock is rarely this fleshed out and connected, especially with a 63-minute runtime. One song might be a little more rock dominant with soaring guitars, while the next will lay down those lush strings and horn sections that Arcade Fire are so good at arranging. So those are two pretty solid picks in my opinion as well.
Big question there, Trey. Funeral or Suburbs? Which one do you prefer?
I still lean Funeral, but
so
I mean, if you choose Suburbs, I'm not gonna.
Most people do.
Yeah.
I was just curious on that. All right, Trey, I got my next one, and you saw my list and said, well, who is that? Titus Andronicus, The Monitor, second studio album by the American indie band. It's a concept loosely based on themes relating to the American Civil War, but don't let that scare you away, boys and girls. Most of you probably aren't going into your Spotify going, man, I got to hear that. But the title's a reference to the USS Monitor, the first ironclad warship commissioned by the United States Navy. In the closing track, the Battle of Hampton Roads refers to a battle that it was in 1862. According to the band, releasing this record is our way of celebrating the 148th anniversary of this historic event. I mean, somebody had to do it, right? I don't know. But there are numerous references to early Billy Bragg songs on here as well. As well as some lyrics in there that also do that. A More Perfect Union also includes references to the band's New Jersey roots, as well as riffs on the lyrics of Bruce Springsteen. Okay. The Monitor features guest appearances by members of Ponytail, Wyoke, Hallelujah, The Hills, Felice Brothers, Spiderbags, Vivian Girls, and The Hold Steady, which is the only one I know of.
I was going to say, I don't know any of those groups. But
Metacritic, 82 out of 100. Pitchfork included the album in their list of top 100 or top albums of 2010 at number 10. And a couple other ones gave it a number 1 spot. It's one of those you just got to go listen to, guys. I can't really tell you there's highlights from it, but you just got to go hear it. Next up, we got a guy who we just became familiar with from
That's right.
We had him in a song battle on his fantastic song, GMF, which I really recommend you go check out. We got John Grant, Queen of Denmark, his debut solo album.
This was a good album.
It's a really good album. Former Czars frontman. It's a collaboration between him and members of the American folk rock band Midway, who had persuaded him to end his 4-year hiatus from music following the breakup of the Czars. It was produced by Grant in collaboration with the Midway members. It's recorded in Midway's recording studio in Denton, Texas. It's 20 miles from where we sit over 2 4-month periods. In May 2000 issue of Mojo, it received the seldom awarded Instant Classic label.
Oh, wow.
It's a second album to receive that honor since Fleet Fox's self-titled debut in 2008 at that time. The reviewer wrote, "If Queen of Denmark were only comprised of self-lacerating ballads, it would still be a work of transcendent beauty. But the second half of the album finds Grant confronting romantic loss with astonishing depth of feeling." In December, the magazine selected Queen of Denmark as its choice for the best album of 2010.
All right.
Top song is Closer, the title track for me. But, you know, in his next album, he's going to really get into some more stuff. But, John is gay and he hadn't come out with that. And so this is a lot of what he went through in all of that. So, Trey, I see that with your next pick, you're going to get one of our longtime patrons' votes with Osmond. Go ahead, man.
No, that's right. We're going Sufjan Stevens, The Age of Ads, his 6th record. He's appeared before on some of our lists.
Yes,
this went to 7 in the U.S., which is one of his highest charting releases. And this really marks a left turn of sorts for Sufjan. If you know his work, Illinois, where it's more acoustic based,
right,
and strings and whatnot. Here, Sufjan leans into electronic music and does in a way though that's quite engaging and melodically strong, and it touches on everything from love and disease to death, mental illness. So not a lot of light affair in here, but it sounds good, man. It sounds good. Futile Devices, Age of Ads, and Impossible Soul are favorites for me.
And if you want to know more about him, I've got a series of top 10s that I did for Osmond, the patron that I mentioned, that are really, really good. So if you don't know any Sufjan, that would be the place for you to dive into. Trey, what is your last pick?
I'm going with Deerhunter's Halcyon Digest, their 5th record. This is just fantastic indie rock with hints of psychedelia in there as well. 29th on Pitchfork's top of the decade list. The lead singer of Deerhunter noted that the album's title is a reference to a collection of fond memories and even invented ones, like my friendship with Ricky Wilson or the fact that I live in an abandoned Victorian auto heart factory. The way that we write and rewrite and edit our memories to be a digest version of what we want to remember, and how that's kind of sad. So I thought that was just an interesting
That is a very good
quote. My favorites on here, Revival and Helicopter.
All right, well, my last pick is really close on this one, but I went with Justin Townes Earle, Harlem River Blues, 3rd studio album, 11 songs, but only 31 minutes. So good. The title track is excellent, won a lot of awards. Very seldom Trey does country grab me, but his songwriting, vocals, and musicianship make this an exception to the rule. If you know the great country alternative artist Steve Earle, Justin Townes Earle was his son. I say was because he has since passed, but a great pick there. My honorable mentions, a group that I just saw in concert a week and a half ago with my daughter, My Chemical Romance, Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. We got Tame Impala and Inner Speaker. Drive-By Truckers make another appearance for the Big To Do. Josh Ritter, he was in one of my previous lists, So Runs the World Away. MGMT, congratulations. The Tallest Man on Earth, he's not, but The Wild Hunt. Brave Little Abacus, just got back from the discomfort. We're all right. And the Gaslight Anthem, really taking a step back from the 59 sound with American slang.
We also have Janelle Monáe's The Arch Android. We have Joanna Newsom with Have One on Me, again, just an epic, almost over 2 hour type of album right there. Some fantastic folk music right there. Deftones with Diamond Eyes, one of their best releases. Flying Lotus, Cosmogramma, and Daughter self-titled, as well as the Gorillaz Plastic Beach, which probably is going to be on a lot of people's lists.
I think it is. I got a few more guys. Marina, The Family Jewels, How to Dress Well, Love Remains. Mavis Staples comes back on my list with You Are Not Alone. Vampire Weekend with Contra, not nearly as good as their debut. And Spoon, Transference, and Foles, Total Life Forever. So there's a lot on here, guys. So just a reminder, let us know in the comments who you think won and share your favorites from the year. And
we'll be back next week with 2011. So be sure to check that out and hit that big red subscribe button if you haven't already. But until next time, y'all, thanks for watching. Happy listening. And we will see you.